Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is the screen recorded video that I promised to upload, walking you through the actual visa application process. Please, if you haven't watched the previous video where I talked about documents to provide and all of that, please endeavor to do so, because I may or may not be repeating some of the information in that video. Okay, so as you can see, we're on the screen leading from the link to apply for the visa, and I would say it is very self-explanatory. Look at the prices of the different types of visa, and this is the part where you apply. So once you're ready, you click apply now. Nothing much to see here. Just select your language, which is most likely English, except you speak Chinese or any other language, but you will still have to answer in English anyways. So in this part, you have to put the country that whoever you are inviting to the UK is coming from. Or to put it in a simpler way, you're going to put the country where you will be doing your biometrics. Yeah? So I get a lot of questions about this email aspect, so please listen. The email address in this part should be the email address of whoever is doing the actual application. So if you are, for example, inviting your mom over and your mom is like an old woman that doesn't really know how to use her email or something like that, please put your own email address there, because that's just for correspondence, like whoever it is that's going to be going back and forth with the application. So this is the part where you can now clarify who owns the email address. If it's you yourself applying, then you take you, but if you're applying for maybe your mom or something, then you can put someone else. So here they will now ask if you yourself have an email address. So this is where you would now put your mom's email address if she has one, or whoever you're inviting if they have one. Or if they don't, you can still click that they don't have an email address, just to save yourself all that hassle. Please listen to this. If you're applying on somebody's behalf, which is, for example, if you're inviting your mom and you're applying on her behalf, please stay consistent with the mindset that you are answering these questions as her, so that you don't go and answer things that are not meant for her but for yourself. Do you understand? I hope that makes sense, just so you don't get denied for answering a very simple question in the wrong way. For this part, ensure that you write your name according to how it appears on your passport, or whoever you are inviting, according to how it appears on the person's passport. Given names and surname separate. So your given name, everything, both first, second, third. If you have 5 names, write everything in given name. Then surname only should be under family name. Yeah. If you've been married before, or you've for some reason changed your name, maybe you've been divorced and you had to change your name, this is the part where you mention your previous names or your previous surnames, or stuff like that. Remember that if you're applying for someone, you're putting their address here, not yours. This one is optional. If you want to upload maybe like your voter's card or your national identity card, you can go ahead and do that. Okay, so for employment status, this is where I also get a lot of questions. So I wanted us to have a look at what all the options can present depending on what you choose. So let's start first with if you choose unemployed. So for this part, they will just ask you if you've got any other incomes or savings. So if you have like regular incomes, maybe like from family, friends, children, grandchildren, you can state that there. Then if it's from investment or pension or any other type of regular income, then you have the option to select it here and specify. Then they would also ask you the total amount that you think that regular income is. So just get ready to have like a rough estimate, at least as close as possible to what is going to be reflected in your bank statements. Then the part where they ask for savings, you can then specify like the amount that's just sitting in your account, then you can state that there as well. So that's that for unemployed. Let's see what it's going to look like if you choose another option. You can always edit your answers by clicking on show and edit answers. Scroll down to whatever part you want to edit and change the information there. So we click on change for employment and let's get another option. Let's look at what employed would give us. So as you can see here, it's going to request for the employer's details, basically name, address, all of that. And then your job title, so whatever your job title is, you put it there. And it's going to also ask you how much you earn each month after tax. So this should probably be how much you receive as your salary in your bank account, because they're most likely going to check that against what you receive in your account. For your job description, you basically want to put something like what you have on your CV, so just to highlight some points about your job description. Don't mind what I wrote on the screen. Okay, so let's try and find out what it's going to be like if it says self-employed. Just so the video isn't too long, you can find out by yourself for students. It's basically almost the same question. It will ask you what your job is and how much you earn in this job in a year. So this, as usual, should reflect in what you possibly have in your bank account, your invoices and all of that. Then the same thing goes for this. It will also ask you if you've got any other incomes, investments, pensions, all of that. So you tick as applies. This part is specific for the applicants. So for example, if you're applying for someone, maybe your mom, they're asking you how much of your mom's money is going into the travel, not whoever is sponsoring. That one comes later. But for this part, you just put in how much from whatever your mom makes, how much of her money is going into the travel. So just put something realistic, okay? Not like somebody is making 1,000 a year, you would now say the person wants to spend 2,000. How is that feasible? Do you understand? In my own opinion, even if the applicant is going to be sponsored, it's still advisable for you to say at least, there's no how you won't spend, even if it's 50k, 100k, 150k. This is the part where they're not asking about whoever is sponsoring. Yeah, so if anybody is going to be sponsoring you, whether your company, your family, your friend, or anything, you tick yes. If not, you tick no. Here they want you to specify if it's family, friend, employer, company, organization, whatever it is, just tick. Yeah, so this part where they ask about how much money will be paid towards your visit, you have to make a rough estimate of how much the visit costs in total, and then put it there. You can also consider the little amount that the applicant has said that they would pay and minus it, but it doesn't have to be that strict. You can put the full amount. In this part, you're just shedding more light on why you're being sponsored. So if it's your company, it can be part of like your employment benefits. It can be for family. Maybe your loved one have promised that they're going to sponsor your trip for so and so reason. Just something short that sheds more light on it. So in this part, just in case it's more than one person sponsoring you, for example, maybe your daughter and her husband, or your 3 children, you can mention all of them in that part. Like individually, they'll keep asking you, is there anyone else sponsoring? Is there anyone else sponsoring? So you keep answering like that, yes or no. This one is just details about when you plan to enter and when you plan to leave the UK. This part, as usual, is just for you to shed more light on what you said you're coming to do. So for more context, you can refer to my previous video on where I talked about the invitation letter. So whatever your reason is in the invitation letter, you can also just give a little shorter version of it here, and I think that's pretty much okay. You see, this part has popped up because previously I mentioned that I was married, so that's why you have this partner aspect. So in my previous video as well, I mentioned that having dependents can be a source of proof that you have ties back in your home country. So this is the part where they're asking about people financially dependent on you. So you should also consider this one when you're talking about how much you spend as well. So this is how much you send to your dependents, how much you spend on your bills. All those things will count. In this part, you're just giving details about your parents if you have their details. Then this part, they're just asking if you've got family or relatives or friends in the UK, and they will also ask what their status is in the UK. Are they permanently residents, temporary, anything like that. It will also ask you for their details, their passport details, if you say that they have a visa. This part is popping up because when I was putting details for the applicant, I put the date of birth as 2012, so it's probably detecting that it's an underage that needs to travel with somebody. And if that is the case, then they would ask for the details of the adult traveling with the applicant, and this name has to tally with whoever it is that is actually going to be traveling with the person, because they would check that, and if not, the person will not be allowed to travel with the applicant. This part is just asking you a series of questions. If you're traveling with a group, if you're traveling with another person, if you're staying with family, yes or no. Then if you say yes, it will ask you for the contact details of whoever it is or any group of people. Moving forward, this part is going to ask you about your travel history, if you've been in the UK before, if you've been denied visa, all of that stuff. I would advise that you state everything as factual as possible. There's no need to tell lies in this aspect, because I believe that they already know, or they already have like records and all of that. So just say what it is and move on. So here they're asking, have you ever been refused? Have you ever been denied entry, deported, removed, required to leave, banned? Any of this. If it's true, you tick yes. If not, you tick no and keep it moving. But try not to tell lies, because they already have your history, so it is what it is. Okay, so for example, I ticked that I was refused visa. They asked which country. I stated Turkey, and then they ask for other details. You give details of what happened, so you need to write the circumstance that they stated why they refused your visa. So you can just write like a few sentences on why your visa was refused. Okay, so after all this aspect, it's just going to be asking you a series of questions about breaking laws. So if you have breached any of the UK laws, maybe you overstayed the last time you came in, things like that. Then convictions, whether you have like maybe criminal convictions, maybe they've arrested you for something, maybe over speeding, if you've gotten any tickets, things like that. Then if you're part of a terrorist group, if you're part of extremist groups, all of that stuff. If you're a person of good character. In this part, if there's any information that you think would help your application, maybe that wasn't stated or that wasn't asked, you can put it here, write everything. Don't forget, there's no pressure. You don't have to fill this application in a day. You take time. When you feel get to an extent, you stop. They'll send you a link to that your email where you can click and continue from where you stopped. So if you've reached this part, you're almost at the end. You check your answers, make sure they are all correct. Then it will produce a checklist of the documents that you would need to provide depending on what you have filled in this application now. If you want to declare that you're filling the application for someone, then you can tick this part. If it's a family member, you can tick family member. I believe we have come to the end of this video. I hope that you found this helpful. Please, if this was helpful, do well to subscribe to my channel, like and share this video to those that may find it useful. I will see you in my next video. Bye.